Hey everyone, we're going live today with Amelia Brun, who is a travel and adventure photographer. She's UK based but naturally nomadic, landscape and lifestyle photographer, and found exploring Great Britain and Europe with her girlfriend and two dogs, Pip and Nancy, in either their Land Rover Defender, which I would love to have if you want to send it to me, or your 1976 Volkswagen Bay window campervan. She specializes in adventure-based products, lifestyle imagery, and discovering more dramatic landscapes and countries. Hey,
Hey guys,
hi Amelia.
how you doing?
Oh, cute pup.
This is Nancy.
Um, Thanks for joining us.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
We love your work, and I'm sure tons of people are excited to learn more. We do these series as a way to kind of give people new ideas, teach new concepts, and talk about some of the latest things that maybe are on your mind.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good.
So, can we start with like a 3 minute on who you are
Yeah, sure. Okay.
and
So,
where you are too?
yeah, absolutely. So currently I'm in Northumberland, which is basically it's like the northeast of the UK, just on the border of Scotland. With my girlfriend, our two rescue dogs, and our rescue kitten as well, who is rampaging around, messing up my already very messy office. Yeah, so I'm a freelance photographer, blogger, and writer, and I've been doing it for about 3 years now, full time. And I've been shooting since I was small. We grew up all around the world. Spent a lot of time in Jamaica, and
Wow.
Scotland, and Dubai. So yeah, that's been a big influence on my work. Yeah. So.
And in which order did you start? You said you do like many different things. What was kind of the first thing that you got into?
Definitely photography. Yeah. Growing up abroad and going to all these cool places, like
Yeah.
just because we were going, I ended up shooting like I've burned through probably about like 100 rolls of film for each country. It might probably cost my parents like thousands of pounds in really bad wasted photos, but it sort of ignited passion for taking photos.
What did you
Um,
what did you originally like to take photos of? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was a big documentary photographer, so I used to shoot a lot of street stuff, skateboarders, local culture, so kind of like completely different from where I've ended up.
And yeah, were you able ever to do anything with them when you were like when you started? Because I had another photographer on that had a MySpace page and she got into editing and that's how she started.
Cool. No, I never did anything with them. They just got printed off and like sat in my drawer in my bedroom. So like I've probably got all these photos somewhere because we moved around so much, I never really got to hold on to very much stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, so everything sort of went.
So this has been 3 years. What were you doing before 3 years ago?
I was enrolled at university, but
Okay.
I hated it. So I sort of I stayed enrolled and I just dropped out and spent my student loan traveling. And then I got a job at just a local coffee shop and worked there for about a year. And then I decided just to try do it full time.
That must have been a scary decision.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was kind of big, but I just figured if I don't try, I'll never know. So I may as well just give it a go. And if I fail, then I can try something else.
So in that
Yeah.
like 1 year when you were working at the coffee shop, did you ever feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna get stuck here. I'm never gonna be able to do what I want, or you just kind of
I think there's definitely sort of like I always try never to get too comfortable in a place, because I think once I get too comfortable it's super easy just to stay and just think, oh well, this is a known thing, so I'll just stay here.
yeah.
So I think there definitely were times where I was just like, this is like I could work it so I could like go out and shoot in the morning and then have a shift start at like 10, so I could go out and shoot sunrise and then get into work. But yeah, I guess I missed not being able to plan trips whenever I wanted. So it was like I had a set number of days I could take on a holiday. So it was like when I run through like 3 weeks holiday, then I couldn't go anywhere, which sucked.
Yeah. So when did social media become a part of like your process?
I was on Instagram like way back in 6 years ago I started on Instagram, and I was just like, I started just posting like junk, just like photos of coffee and like really lame, boring stuff.
I mean, that was your life. People photograph what their life is about, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it was like a lot of dog pictures of my previous dog, and yeah, a lot of like selfies and like kind of the opposite to what it is now. And then I actually got big into Instagram, just taking loads of photos of fog. I love fog. I love mist. I love fog. So I used to shoot like all the time, like the local woods, the local wild ponies. So that got kind of consistent on my feed, and then Instagram suggested me as a user to follow. So then suddenly, like, my feed went from like having 3,000 followers to having like 40,000 followers. Like overnight.
I know that they suggested you.
They just randomly did. I just got an email from them one day saying you're now a suggested user.
Wow, that's
amazing. It was mental. Yeah. So that like really kickstarted me thinking, oh, okay, maybe I can make some money out of this then. If I'm going to get lots of followers, let's see what I can do with it.
And does that bring you business now? How do you work with that?
Yeah, so I do. It's sort of quite a good in to say. I kind of use it as a sort of to hook people in, I guess. So it's like, well, I've got a lot of followers on Instagram and my engagement's pretty consistent. So like we could work, I don't know, you could send me some stuff and you could pay me, and then I could take some photos for you, and I could, if you wanted to, I can promote you on my Instagram. So some of it works like that. Some of it's like a more in-depth collaboration, and then some are just one-off ads where a brand says, we want to give you this, we're going to pay you X, one post, one story.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
What's like some of the recent stuff that you've done?
I've just done a collaboration with an American company, Kurgo. They're like an adventure dog company. Mm-hmm. So we were up in Scotland shooting the girls in their gear. So that was good. And then I'm just about to post like a dog food one on Instagram. So that's just like a one-off, one post story set.
And do they go and use these photos in their, where do they use them?
Depends on the company. So the Kurgo ones will be used on their website and their socials. The dog food one is just, I just post it. They don't have access or rights to the image. So they can repost it if they want, but you know, they don't have to. And then I just recently did Birdhouse, which is a big outdoor company, just did their autumn winter 20 campaign. So that's for their website, print, in-store, billboards, social media stuff.
How many of these people do you actually meet in real life?
Recently it's been a lot of like Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
And before then I would say probably 30% of people I actually meet someone, and then 70% it's purely done over email.
Because I'm sure a lot of people would love to shoot in Scotland, but they can't get there, you know, and also production costs are so high.
That's the thing. Then I've got a really cool like old VW van, and we've got a lovely Rover Defender, so we've got like amazing props already.
Yeah.
Which costs us next to nothing to go up there and shoot. Yeah.
And what's something, your favorite thing that you've done that you were like, wow, this is a dream for me?
Ooh, I went to Iceland last year with Reyka Vodka. They're an Icelandic vodka company, and they created
the blue cross on it or whatever.
Yes, yeah. And they created a A-frame cabin as a bar with a wood burner, and they put it onto the biggest glacier in Iceland. And then we traveled out onto the glacier for one night. And
what do you mean traveled out? How does that work?
So they flew us, me and a bunch of other sort of creators, over to Iceland. Yeah. And then we drove up onto the glacier and had drinks, like cocktails and stuff, and in front of a wood burner on a glacier. It was like mind blown. And what
kind of photos did you take there?
So a lot of in like really cool interior shots, because obviously we had this lovely A-frame cabin, a wood burner, and then like a glacier outside. So there was a lot of like drink details, and then obviously walking out onto the glacier and taking photos of an orange A-frame in the middle of Iceland. So it was sort of a combination of what I would call landscape and lifestyle. So yeah.
Do you think that like companies that have a product like that, are they like more into taking photos of the product? Are they trying like, or is everyone kind of getting into this Patagonia? Like, has there been some sort of shift that you've seen that Patagonia style versus of the
Yeah,
actual product? What's the like ratio?
I think there's a lot more brands who want to tell stories with their images, and there's a lot more brands who now favor smaller audiences with maybe a more organic reach. So like, let's say you've only got 5,000 followers, but you get consistently 2,000 or 3,000 likes on your images. Your ratio of engagement to followers is massive. And so I think of a lot of brands, if you can find someone that you think aligns with your vision, and you can create some really like, organic, natural content, then that's the winner, I would say. Like I'll like very rarely like I get quite a lot of requests for stuff that just isn't my style, like food stuff, like baking or makeup stuff. I don't wear makeup. I'm not really a very like home influencer, or I'm obviously not a family influencer. I think it's really important to try and stick to like your sort of niche, and don't like sell yourself out just for the right money.
Like, say there's a company you like, do you ever go and pitch them, or do people come mostly to you?
Oh yeah, always pitching. And I would say it's probably a good 50-50, maybe 60-40.
Wow. Tell me more about that for like the kind of, we have more of a younger audience on here.
Mm-hmm.
They maybe are shy to, or they don't know how to, or like, what are the like few steps that they should do? Obviously they need to have like yours is very cohesive. So they know what you're you're asking.
Yeah. I would say what you need to do to start with is create a really good media kit. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be like super detailed. Just explains what you do, who you are, where you're based. Then some example imagery after that, and then sort of maybe a few past projects. So like I collaborated with Kurgo and created this, and then you want to put some stats at the end, social media, websites, and handles and stuff. And then just once you've got that, it's like a really good base for approaching people, so they can immediately click into this document and see, right, so she's based here, she does that, this is her past work. So you want to prove to them that you're reliable, that you can work to a deadline, that you can work to a brief, but in a really concise and simple way, because a lot of the time brands haven't got time to pour over super detailed, super in-depth like media kits and information and stuff.
And you like email them this, or do you DM them it, or?
It depends. If you can find an email, like try and get it to a person who's relevant, like head of marketing or influencers, or like don't go too high. If you go for like the CEO of a company, he's not interested in marketing or anything like that. He's got other stuff to be dealing with. So if you go in, maybe even an intern, someone lower level, then that's the fact that you've done your research and found a contact shows them that you're serious.
But isn't that a lot of work for you? I mean, like, don't you need to be working on your art and craft? Like 50%, I mean, you're talking about like almost half and half of your time is probably split between creating the content and then going and getting clients. I mean, is it just that you only pick a few at a time so it's manageable? Or like, because I know some of the other artists too, they'll have like their friend help them, or their sister or something like that. What do you like? How have you figured out how to do time management?
Yeah, so I try and prioritize, and I think, right, I plan my trips quite far in advance, with the exception of a few, and then I think, sorry, Patsy's just about to. Then I think, like, what brands do I know and like that I think would work with these? So I send out like, I'll try and focus on maybe like 5 brands, and try not to send like hundreds of emails, because it is just, you can just fall into this endless pit of time wasting. So if you I think the key is to find a brand that you really like, a brand that you wear, a brand that you believe in, a brand that you support anyway, because that will always shine through with a company. And they get a lot of emails all the time, so if you can prove that you love the product and you wear the product and you can use the product.
I mean, how many times do you have to follow up before they answer though?
It depends entirely on the company. Sometimes I get emails back straight away. Sometimes I have to prod them. Sometimes I forget. A lot of the time I forget. So yeah, I tend to try and work on longer term partnerships. So I've got, I don't know, maybe 5 long-term partners. So they pay me X monthly or, biannually or whatever, and then I produce X numbers of content for them, which it just makes everything a lot simpler and it makes everything feel more organic. And yeah,
that makes sense, especially because you're like mixing both. Do you ever do any like creative direction or anything, or is it just photography?
I haven't done any creative direction yet, actually. I've been thinking about doing a workshop or something, but again, it's just finding the time to like plan it and organize logistics and get to see if people are interested. And yeah.
But do they ever ask you like, what should we do with these pictures when they get them from you, like the businesses?
So we tend to discuss what like rights they have to the images beforehand. So depending on the company and how much they're paying, they either get to use them everywhere or nowhere, basically. So it's kind of like you can either, if you're paying me X, you can use these images on your social, on your website, but I'm going to need to be credited. If you're paying me more than X, then you can use them for your own marketing and, intercompany stuff.
What's like a good example of when people would be okay with being credited? Like what's something that like somebody with like 1,000 followers, if they can get credited, and if say they can't like get these bigger customers, what can they do to build their name up?
A lot of the time, people, it's kind of a split camp whether or not you should work for free or not. And I think there is a basis for working for product when you're really young and starting out.
Yeah.
And there's very few other ways to really massively build up your portfolio.
Is there like one place where if you get a credit, it's like golden for you or for anyone?
I would say it's, you want big features. That's what really drives your audience, like a bigger audience to you. So like there's feature pages like Roam the Planet, Mountain Stories, who else do I tag? Like Folk Green. So if you can get like a really good feature on one of those, it will often drive like a couple of 100 followers your way, which is obviously
there's so many communities of like adventure and nature ones on Instagram. Like how do you have I know you work with one of them, I saw.
Nomadic.
Yeah. So what's their deal? What are they about?
So they're basically like an online journal and adventure community at the minute. I think I believe they're planning on expanding into print. We're also organizing some presets with them to be selling and giving away and doing contests and stuff. But at the minute, they're basically an online adventure journal, and they feature sort of specific artists. And there is the option to pay for a feature. I think it's important not to get lost in like the world of social media, and obviously it's like massively important. Like I hate people who say it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It's like a lot of the time it does matter how many followers you have. Yeah, because we do need a decent base to get started and thus approach people, and it gets more eyes on your work. So what creator doesn't want loads of eyes on their work? Yeah. So I think it's really, really easy to get lured into like paying for features and like non-organic ways of gaining followers and attention. But the best thing I could sort of say for that is just keep posting consistently, and like, there was a world before Instagram and there'll be a world after Instagram. So
do you do anything on TikTok?
Yeah, I have a TikTok account, and I post sort of just videos from when I'm traveling, and then I posted a sunrise at the castle on the beach behind my house, and it got like 1.3 million views, and then I got super obsessed with it for a while, and then I stopped getting obsessed with it. So
did you get anything out of it?
Maybe a couple of thousand of followers, but nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Kind of funny how it works, like these waves. Like you think something will be immediate after, but it's not. It's like a long-term thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's sort of slow growth a lot of the time.
You can't get like too caught up in it because you'll get lost.
Exactly. That's what I'm always super careful about, and I have quite a kind of possessive personality, so when I fixate on something, I get really into it.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend's like, oh my god, just put your phone down and go outside. So yeah,
that's great. Well, I mean, this has been awesome, and I would love to be there with you once. Like, I really want to go to Scotland. I think that would be awesome. So
come to Scotland, we'll hang and we'll shoot.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, and this is super helpful for a lot of people. So I'm sure they're very thankful in advance. And take it easy.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for bringing your pups on. They made